Look, what it takes, the hardest part is actually the origination, not the execution. Winning the business is extremely difficult. And in investment banking, you probably spend 80, 90% of your time thinking about origination, and maybe 10 to 15% of your time thinking on or working on execution. And certainly when I joined Deutsche Bank, we had a real issue because we didn't have as much of a track record as many of the more established firms, not just the American firms, but also the European firms. Outside of Germany, we still hadn't really done very many deals or led very many transactions.
Mhm.
And so you felt like you would have to work twice as hard or three times as hard just to get your foot in the door. And I think the biggest challenge in origination was always distinguishing yourself, differentiating yourself from other banks. What can you bring that others can't? Because you IPO via Goldman Sachs, you IPO via, at the time, SG Warburg. You're kind of speaking to the same investors. You'll probably have the same outcome. What makes you any better? And that was consistently the biggest challenge. And so, a lot of it is putting together presentations, finding reasons to continue a dialogue with the client on an ongoing basis, and winning over their trust. And that is a continuous process. It's sometimes very time consuming, but it's really tough.
Mhm.
In terms of getting deals across the finish line, I mean, there is a process for taking a company public, getting the accounts together, getting the prospectus together, the marketing materials. It can be 5, 6, even 9 months to put it together. The marketing at the end is almost an anticlimax because you will have done so much work around the corporate finance, around the modeling, around research analyst briefings. There's a whole series of steps, and it takes a village, to use Hillary Clinton's book. It takes a village to take a company public. And you work
Mhm.
not just with a lot of colleagues internally, but you also have to know how to work with a lot of stakeholders elsewhere, whether it's the company, whether it's the auditors, whether it's the lawyers, the PR firms. It's an enormous undertaking.
Mm. So, talking specifically about origination, I mean, you've said in the past that 80-90% of a banker's time is really pitching, but that most pitches fail. So, what does great origination actually look like in practice?
Tough question. The best originators are able to convince a client to do what you want them to do. It's a matter of persuasion. And that means you have to win their trust. That means you have to get them to like you. You have to get them to identify with you. You also have to get them to believe that your analysis is correct, that you have been analytically rigorous in your approach,
Mhm.
but also that they want to work with you, that they feel comfortable with you personally, that you also have credibility. So the best originators, I would say, combine three qualities. Logos, if we can use the ancient Greek, logos, which is logic or analysis, ethos, which is credibility or reputation, and pathos, which is emotional identification or attachment. You have to have all three in order to win business, especially when other banks may have stronger credentials or a stronger brand name than you.
You've reached the end of this clip, but the story is not over. To watch the full episode, follow this link. Go on. You can do it.